Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving the 2026 Lexus ES350e Premium. Up front is a single electric motor powering this all-electric Lexus ES. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Lexus ES because this is not only the first time that they've offered an electric version of the ES, but this vehicle is all new for the 2026 model year. Now, there is a hybrid available, and that video will also be on my channel here today. But today, we get to check out the first ever electric ES. One of the most important vehicles to the Lexus name has now gone EV. But if you'd like to submit your own vehicle and have it reviewed here on the channel, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. And if you'd like to see all my videos weeks or sometimes months in advance, you can head on over to my Patreon for only $5 a month. But let's get back to that all-electric drivetrain. Well, there's two different flavors that you can get, and we're actually driving the Premium here today, which is essentially the base model, but they don't like calling it that. And so this only has the single electric motor up at the front, producing 221 horsepower. This also has a 74.7 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery, and of course, because it is the single motor, it is only front-wheel drive. Now, there is a dual-motor all-wheel drive available. That will cut down your range by about 40 miles. This one gets 307. The all-wheel drive gets 260s about. So, if you would like that, you can seek that out. But if you're looking for range, this is going to be the EV version with the most amount of range. The drivetrain is very smooth, as I would expect out of pretty much any EV. So that's good there. The power isn't great, and actually the hybrid all-wheel drive gets more power than this, but it is more instant, so you feel zippier, you feel quicker driving this front-wheel drive EV than you do the all-wheel drive hybrid, which is very, very interesting. Now, like I said, it is front-wheel drive, but of course all-wheel drive is available. How does it feel to drive the electric ES? Well, it's nice. It is everything that I would want an ES product to be. Mainly quiet, comfortable, easy to drive. That's what the ES has always been good at, and that maintains here for the electric ES. It's very quiet. It's nice to drive. It floats over bumps more than a lot of its competitors. Is this a gushy marshmallow over bumps? Not quite, but it is very, very comfortable, and you get that nice, relaxed experience. You can hear in my voice throughout this video, it's a lot simpler. It's a lot more calm, and that's what I want out of a luxury car. I want a luxury car to be able to take me out of my day, no matter what mood I'm in, and relax. And that's what the electric ES does, and that's what electric cars in general have been very, very good at doing. So I have to say it's pretty good there. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, we have an all-new gauge cluster for the new ES. I like it a lot. It's pretty highly customizable, pretty easy to read as well, which some Lexus products in the past haven't been that way, so that is very, very nice to see. On the steering wheel on the left, we do have our controls for that gauge cluster screen, as well as our volume and skip track, and off to the right, we have our adaptive cruise. These buttons are new for the 26 model year, as the rest of the car is, but this is a big highlight because a lot of other Lexus products have used these like haptic label-less buttons. These actually have labels. They're very useful. They light up well, and I'm a big, big fan of these, and I'm happy to see Lexus kind of fixing their previous decisions. We also do have Lexus spelled out on the center of the steering wheel. Very nice touch. And off to the left, we have 3 levels of memory seats, gauge dimmer switch, and our trunk release. Moving on to the door, we have our power mirrors, power locks, and power windows, but what we're missing here is the Mark Levinson sound system, so that is available on the luxury trim level or the Premium Plus, but this base Premium does not have it. Moving into the center, we get our all-new infotainment system. This is a lot easier to navigate than the older system. This system itself was debuted in the 2026 RAV4 last year, and now we see it here in the ES. It is a huge, huge upgrade, and of course, for the electric variant, we have a special page that will show us our range, charge limit, battery preconditioning, scheduling, and all of that stuff. So that is, of course, exclusive to the EV.
See, this is our range map. That's all new, the EV range map. That blue, it's just a way that we can help our customers kind of maybe reduce a little bit of that anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when you look at that, you're like, wow, I really do have a lot of range. I can go far. You know, we can go all the way to Yuma and back, you know, to Yuma without charging. So this is a new feature. If you're looking for charging stations nearby, we have that one touch button that's going to find things that are nearby. You can see the charging level and the number of stations that are open. Obviously this is California, so we've got a lot going on here. But if we were in a hurry, we could filter by just seeing the level 3. And diving deeper into it more, we see what our battery is going to be upon arrival, plus the adapter types, the level 2 versus the level 3, the max kilowatt output. And we can favorite stations if we liked them and then always go back to them when they're pinned on our map. But in terms of long distance planning, let's say we'll just type in Bakersfield, and this is something right outside of our range map, so it's telling us we need a charge to go there. We're going to add the charging route. I've told the system that I'm okay with that 10% battery on arrival, and you can adjust that. Our default is to 20%, but you can change it to 50%, all the way up to 50% if you want. So it's going to give me my most time efficient route, and you get your drive time plus your charge time for an overall trip time, which I think is helpful for planning.
And this vehicle only has a backup camera, while upper trims will get an optional 360 camera. So if you want the 360 camera, you can find that, but you're gonna pay a little bit more for it. The climate controls ran through the screen are fine. I've been using them all weekend and I haven't really been bothered by them. They're simple enough, fan speed is easy, and you do get physical buttons for the temperature itself, so nice to see that. Moving down below, we have a couple physical buttons for the temperature, driver and passenger, our front and rear defrost, as well as our volume switch. These are physical buttons. They look like they would be haptic, but you do physically push a button. So they look modern and nice, but still have that old school functionality, which I think is a great crossroad. We do have our climate control vents and hazard switch. We have 2 USB-Cs down below and 2 wireless chargers. Moving into the center, we get the shifter off to the left. No matter if you buy the gas or electric, you will have the same shifter. Power parking brake, auto holding brake, and traction control off. And off to the right, we have our cup holders. So we will do a big friggin' bottle test for the first time in the all-new Lexus ES. And unfortunately, yet incredibly predictably, it fails the big friggin' bottle test. Then we do have a center console, USB-C, as well as a 12-volt outlet found in there. And we have the seats. The seats are very comfortable, heated and ventilated here. Very, very nice to see that, especially at just the standard premium level. You still get ventilated seats. Really, really love that option, and they've been very comfortable. I also drove the gas hybrid. They were equally comfortable in that, so the comfort is not lost here in the Lexus ES. I was hesitant that it might be, but happy to report that it tisn't. Speaking of seats, however, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, getting into the back of the new Lexus ES Electric, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is where you actually want to be. It is very, very spacious, very nice, and I am a huge fan of it. So let's get in here. Look at how much space I have between my legs and the seat in front of me. This is my driving position, which is arguably a little bit further back than a lot of other people, and I still have plenty of space. Down here, we have 2 USB-C chargers as well as our climate vents. We get the nice ivory interior carrying on back here, and we do have a giant center console, cup holders that do pop out of there, and we have some storage in here, but that's it. So nothing really crazy beyond that. We have our standard speakers. Again, Mark Levinson is available. This particular one just doesn't have it. Lock and unlock, and our power windows. Overall, the back seat of the ES is great. Now, available on the electric only. You can get a luxury seat package for the back that will incorporate little ottoman style seating as well as rear massage seats for the 2 outboard seats, not the middle seat. That is an option on the luxury trim levels. This particular one does not have it, but something of interest to note. Overall, I mean, this really fills the gap of the Lexus LS. The LS was canceled last year, and there is no shortage of legroom in the new ES sedan. Way more space than the outgoing ES. Speaking of space, let's hop into the trunk and take a quick look back there. All right, coming around the back, we do have a button here, and it is a power-operated trunk. That is an absolutely awesome standard feature. And once we are back here, nothing really too crazy. It's a pretty standard trunk. We can come down here. We get a little bit of storage, but unfortunately, no spare tire here in the ES Electric. But it's spacious. You're going to fit all your groceries in here. Anything you need around town, which, again, more around town luxury vehicle. We'll talk about that here in a second. This does a very good job of that. Push the button here, wave to the glider up in the air over the Santiago Bay, and we have our beautiful Lexus ES. But let's talk about the looks. Now we got to talk about the looks, and I don't mind the look of the ES. Now, to be fair, the ESs of the past, I've driven, I think, every generation. I've never been like over the moon of like, oh my gosh, this car is so attractive. They're fine. This is a similar situation. It's fine. Does it do the job? Yes. Does it look okay and dignified enough to park in my driveway? Yes. It's not gaudy. It's not ugly. And this particular one is finished in Cloudburst, which we've seen on a handful of vehicles from Lexus in the past. With all of that being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving the Lexus ES350e for the very first time? The all-new electric ES. Well, I like it a lot. It does a lot of things very, very well, and honestly, I don't have any major complaints about the car. Now, the ES in general has lost the V6 option. I think that is a blow to the brand for sure. There's a lot of people that are going to want that V6, and they don't offer it anymore. But besides that, there's a lot of upsides. I think the biggest thing for me is how quiet and comfortable the car is. As you saw with those back seats, incredible rear seat space. And on the electric version, as we talked about, you can get the executive seat package to push that comfort even further. But I think electric drivetrains really complement luxury vehicles very, very well. It's way quieter than any gasoline Lexus ever built, ever. They've nailed the suspension where it rides nice. It has good acceleration. And so this is the way that Lexus is heading. At this event here in San Diego, they also gave us the wonderful opportunity to check out a pre-production version of the upcoming Lexus TZ, their luxury 3-row SUV. They're going in the electric way, and I think it makes a lot more sense for Lexus to do it than it does Toyota and, of course, their sibling Subaru. Because if you're buying a Lexus product, they're already a lot of money, so they are a luxury product. Odds are you probably own a home, so you can have an at-home charger installed. You're not super worried about range. You're not super worried about distance traveled. You might have several different cars if you're in the market for a Lexus, and so this makes a lot more sense. If you want a nice, quiet, luxurious experience around town, which again for $50,000 is a pretty good bargain. This is great for that. Charge it at home. It's going to have a fresh battery every single day. You don't have to think about it, and it is that luxury item. The issue I have with Toyota and Subaru moving towards electric is that not everyone can afford a charger at home. Those vehicles are for the everyman, the people that have stiff mortgages and might live paycheck to paycheck. And so those people might not have access to chargers. So I think hybridization is the better direction for those companies. It just fits their demographic better. But Lexus has always been about quiet, about luxury, about nice materials, good driving experience. And this car does all of that very well. I feel similarly about the Rolls-Royce Spectre that I drove a few years back. That was one of the best Rolls-Royces just because it was the quietest. It was the smoothest. That's what electricity has brought to the automotive industry. Smooth, quiet acceleration and deceleration. And so, is the Lexus ES a good product? Yes, it still carries the torch from the ES that started it all, but now in an electric format. I'm a big fan. It's very, very nice. It's comfortable. And for around town, there's not much more that you could want. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Lexus for letting me borrow their ES, as well as bringing me down here to San Diego. I was promised it would be sunny, so someone lied. But they brought me down here to San Diego to sample some of their new products, as well as get a sneak peek of the new TZ Lexus. Can't wait to drive that in a few months. They've been absolutely wonderful. I really, really appreciate the accommodations, and it's always great working with Toyota and Lexus. They always have well-run programs, and I'm very thankful to be on their call sheet. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.